Imagine stepping into a bustling, perfectly ordered metropolis. Citizens walk the cobblestones, merchants barter their wares, and massive steel gears grind in a ceaseless rhythm.
But running beneath it all, whispering through the very air you breathe, is a demonic broadcast commanding you to surrender your mind.
Welcome, fellow traveler. Step out of the biting wind and find your place by the warmth of our hearth. The encroaching shadows grow exceedingly long tonight, stretching across the frozen wastes of the world, but here, the fire burns bright.
Pull your cloak tight against the chill. We gather around these embers to commence a deep dive into the source material, specifically analyzing the chronicles of Far Battle Scene 29.
Our task tonight is to trace the harrowing path of our weary fellowship as they trek through an unforgiving glacial expanse. They march toward the grinding gears of that exact clockwork city, Chronopolis.
Their objective remains absolute. They intend to neutralize the insidious general of Gormak, an entity known solely as the Voice.
It remains a desperate march, undertaken by a strike force battered by previous terrors. To comprehend their decisions, we must examine the physical and mental state of these warriors.
Consider the stoic human ranger, Aaron, whose arrows seek targets with quiet, deadly precision. Beside him marches Welsies, the vengeance-driven dwarven paladin, gripping his ivy-wrapped axe tightly.
We observe Atenimus, the half-elf warlock. He is currently enduring the agonizing, hollow absence of his demonic patron. Then there is Debbie, the delicate elf wizard whose culinary magic masks devastating arcane power.
Joining them are three newer companions from the northern coast. We have the stealthy human rogue Robin Cade, the disciplined human monk Percy Jen, and Dean Scotch, a towering Goliath fighter who communicates through silent telepathy.
Well, they recently escaped the fiery destruction of the Iron Crown Fortress. That was a realm of molten lava, choking ash, and blistering heat.
Now they find themselves entirely submerged in the freezing tundra of the northern wastes. The juxtaposition is staggering.
How does this drastic, violent shift in their physical environment mirror the rising stakes of their apocalyptic quest against the demon Gormak?
The environment itself acts as a crucible. Fire is inherently chaotic. It demands immediate, frantic action to survive the flames.
Ice, conversely, operates as a slow, methodical killer. The frozen wastes strip away all external distractions.
Precisely. The blinding white expanse forces the Fellowship to turn inward. They must rely entirely on their fragile interpersonal bonds to survive the sensory deprivation.
Furthermore, this geographical isolation amplifies the psychological pressure. As they march closer to Chronopolis, the psychic static of the Voice begins to permeate the very air they breathe.
The cold numbs their bodies, making their minds increasingly vulnerable. That zombifying broadcast echoes constantly across the tundra, searching for weakness.
So the howling winds of that desolate landscape eventually yield to a deceitful stillness. Around day 4 of their trek, the Fellowship arrives at a surface smoother than glass, masking absolute terrors underneath.
They have reached the vast, frozen inland lake surrounding Chronopolis. And there, huddled against the biting frost, they encounter a nomadic encampment.
Which immediately triggers intense scrutiny. Survival in this region borders on the impossible.
It is not merely due to the sub-zero temperatures. The sheer proximity to the psychic broadcast makes any sign of life suspicious.
Anyone retaining their free will this close to Chronopolis must possess a specialized defense mechanism.
The Fellowship approaches with weapons drawn. They suspect these nomads might be hollowed vessels or cultist spies serving the enemy.
Negotiation prevails, thankfully. Atenimus utilizes his silver tongue even without his patron's dark charisma to bolster his words, to broker a crucial trade.
The nomads offer specialized enchanted wax earplugs. The mechanics of these items present a fascinating puzzle for our travelers.
They are not simple physical barriers muffling the world. You can hear a footstep crunching in the snow or a sword sliding from a scabbard, while the insidious psychic command is completely neutralized.
Wait, how does a piece of wax accomplish this selective filtering? We must look at the specific nature of the enchantment woven into the material.
These earplugs do not block acoustic sound waves. Physical sound operates on an entirely different frequency than the broadcast of the Voice, which is purely psychic.
The enchanted wax acts as a metaphysical ward. It functions as a localized shield, grounding the psychic static before it reaches the brain's receptors,
leaving the physical eardrum completely unobstructed. The nomads, possessing a limited supply, direct the strike force to a specific wax and candle shop inside Chronopolis to fully outfit the party.
This interaction underscores a vital tactical shift in their journey. The Fellowship is no longer fighting mindless beasts. They are navigating a complex geopolitical environment.
Survival now requires specialized equipment and local intelligence. Securing that equipment becomes their paramount focus, but reaching the city remains a monumental task.
By day 5, the environmental perils escalate sharply. The strike force is utilizing 2 heavy wooden dog sleds to cross the frozen lake.
The silence shatters with a sound resembling a cannon shot. The ice begins to crack violently beneath their immense weight.
The tactical response here illustrates their growing cohesion under pressure. Welsies, Aaron, and Antinomius are positioned on the first sled.
Hearing the fracture, they immediately shift their weight. They separate their path from the second sled to distribute the kinetic load across a wider surface area of the ice.
But the second sled, carrying Percy, Dean, and Robin, is caught dead in the center of a rapidly spreading spiderweb of fissures.
Disaster is mere seconds away. But Debbie, often viewed as the physically weakest member of the group, seizes control of the situation.
She utilizes her arcane mastery, raising her hands to cast a spell of sudden violent wind.
A localized gale-force tempest erupts behind the second sled. It catches the wooden frame and propels it forward with tremendous velocity.
Pushing it safely onto thicker ice before the fragile surface collapses entirely, she executes a masterful non-combative application of destructive magic.
She turns a spell designed to batter enemies into a makeshift propulsion engine. However, the true terror of the Glass Lake reveals itself on day 6.
As they draw closer to the city limits, the ice becomes perfectly, unnervingly clear. Staring down into the abyssal depths, the Fellowship spots an anomaly.
Resting at the bottom of the frozen lake, completely undisturbed, is a massive white dragon. It slumbers peacefully beneath the surface.
They've survived the organic, chaotic threat of the breaking ice, only to find the embodiment of ancient terror sleeping beneath their boots.
Staring down at that beast, the parallel is undeniable. That slumbering dragon perfectly mirrors the looming threat of the apocalypse itself.
It is a catastrophic danger, clearly visible, momentarily dormant. It is separated from our heroes by nothing more than a fragile, cracking barrier.
One wrong step, one loud noise, and the end of the world rises to consume them. The apocalypse ceases to be an abstract concept here.
It becomes a physical entity resting mere feet away. What demands our attention is the discipline required for seasoned warriors to ignore such a monstrous target.
Earlier in their journey, the temptation to engage might have overwhelmed their better judgment. The glory of slaying a Leviathan is a powerful lure for any adventurer.
Here, they demonstrate profound strategic growth. They prioritize the mission above all else.
Silencing the voice in Chronopolis supersedes the pride of battling a beast. They mark the location on their maps and slip past with the utmost stealth.
Leaving the slumbering Leviathan behind, the horizon gives way to an architectural marvel. The frozen silence is replaced by grinding gears and towering metal spires.
They step into the clockwork city of Chronopolis. Picture this metropolis in your mind, traveler.
Chronopolis is not merely a city built upon gears. It is a colossal mechanical construct in its own right. The urban planning is entirely dictated by its mechanical nature.
The city is divided into 5 distinct rotating levels. Looking at the schematics, the zoning is staggering to contemplate.
The lowest tier, Level 1, houses the roaring forges of industry and smiths. Level 2 is the bustling domain of shops and trade.
Level 3 holds government, libraries, and schools. Level 4 serves as the main residential sector.
And at the very pinnacle, Level 5, sits the opulent, rich residential district. But the architectural genius lies in the movement.
How does a society function when the very ground beneath their feet is constantly shifting?
It requires an absolute adherence to schedule and precise engineering. These immense tiers physically rotate in alternating directions.
Level 1 grinds clockwise, while Level 2 spins counterclockwise. This creates a dizzying, constantly shifting urban landscape.
Everything is connected by complex, heavily reinforced elevator systems. The demographic makeup within these moving walls is equally distinct.
We observe a dense population mixing organic citizens with a vast number of warforged. These are sentient mechanical beings living side by side with humanity.
Crucially, the zombified laborers that the Fellowship witnessed in other northern settlements are significantly less prevalent here.
Which creates an eerie sense of normalcy. People are shopping, conversing, going about their day.
They seem completely oblivious, or perhaps apathetic, to the fact that the general of an apocalyptic demon broadcasts madness from a nearby peak.
It forces the Fellowship to operate covertly. They blend into the crowds of Level 2, initiating a discreet operation to fortify their supplies.
They visit an arcane bazaar that defies standard logic. They locate a peculiar potion shop where the vials do not sit on wooden shelves.
Instead, they hang suspended from complex networks of strings. The clerk is a highly customized warforged, possessing mechanical limbs that extend and retract on telescoping gears.
It reaches up to retrieve the dangling wares from the ceiling with unsettling precision. It is within this bizarre marketplace they acquire demon protection scrolls and vital healing potions.
But the critical moment arrives during a high-stakes negotiation. Etenemus takes the lead, while Dean Scotch stands back in the shadows.
Dean utilizes his Goliath telepathy to monitor the merchant's surface thoughts, ensuring they are not being swindled. They produce the soul gems they discovered earlier in the frozen wastes.
They sell 17 of these gems for an astonishing 42,000 gold pieces. To comprehend the magnitude of this transaction, we must examine the specific lore of soul gems within Chronopolis.
In many parts of this world, a soul gem is viewed as an object of profound terror. It is typically seen as a prison holding a tormented spirit.
However, within the Clockwork City, they function as high-capacity power sources. They serve as currency, batteries for immense constructs, and even life extension components for the Warforged themselves.
Are the heroes trading fragments of life to fund their war, thereby adopting the pragmatic ruthlessness of their enemies?
They are utilizing the mechanics of the local economy to finance their desperate stand against Gormak. They adapt to the survival requirements of the city.
Without that 42,000 gold, their mission would stall entirely. It highlights their extreme adaptability in a hostile environment.
They recognize that in Chronopolis, these gems are treated as functional batteries containing raw magical energy, devoid of the evil stigma found elsewhere.
The transaction provides the capital necessary to wage a shadow war in a city where every door requires a toll.
With exceedingly heavy purses and fortified gear, the warriors seek a brief respite from the biting cold and the constant grinding of the city.
They locate a tavern. The establishment itself is a clockwork marvel, featuring a massive circular bar that rotates in the opposite direction to the outer walls.
The Fellowship naturally fractures, splitting their focus to decompress from the sheer sensory overload of the journey.
Welsies, ever the devout paladin, departs immediately to find a local shrine. He seeks divine blessings for his ivy-wrapped axe, C-3PO.
Aaron, seeking familiarity, looks for the Bard Howl, hoping to hear tales of their own past exploits. Instead, he finds Tahalia Brightstring, another traveling musician.
Aaron and Etenemus gladly pay her coin to sing sagas of their gallant deeds. It provides a small comfort in a hostile metallic land.
Meanwhile, Dean Scotch, exhausted from the physical toll of the journey, claims a large table. He meticulously cleans his greatsword while consuming copious amounts of ale.
This fragile piece shatters entirely mere moments later. Debbie, Robin, and Etenemus, positioned near the tavern's entrance, observe a shadowy figure exiting the establishment.
The individual radiates a familiar, distinctly sinister aura. More alarmingly, the figure carries the exact, pungent odor the party previously tracked to the savage gray wonder beasts during their skirmish in Kulovac.
That scent triggers a complete fracture of their tactical discipline. Etenemus, perhaps feeling the void left by his patron and desperate for action, immediately suggests pursuit.
What happens next is terrifyingly impulsive. Debbie, the delicate baker wizard, instantly casts an invisibility spell upon herself.
She sprints out the door, chasing a highly dangerous target entirely alone into the sprawling mechanical city.
The chain reaction is instantaneous. Percy and Etenemus scramble out of the tavern, vaulting onto the frozen rooftops to track the figure from above.
Robin Cade melts into the shadows of the street level, pursuing on foot with silent, practiced footfalls.
And contrast this chaos with the veterans of the group. Aaron issues a stoic, stern warning to think before acting, to form a cohesive plan.
His words fall on deaf ears. Dean Scotch displays complete indifference, remaining seated and continuing to drink his ale.
He trusts the newer members to handle a street chase, completely underestimating the peril. Why do they break ranks so disastrously in this moment?
We are witnessing a disturbing shift in their behavioral baseline. The earplugs protect their free will from the direct commands of the voice.
But they do not negate the emotional weight of the ambient malice saturating the city.
Exactly. The proximity to apocalyptic evil amplifies latent fear into foolish aggression.
Debbie's spontaneous, solitary pursuit of an unknown, dangerous target reveals a critical breakdown in squad tactics.
Debbie is what tacticians term a glass cannon. She can output a devastating amount of magical damage from afar, but physically she is as fragile as spun glass.
Sprinting into the unknown without Wellesley's heavy shield or Aaron's covering fire is a maneuver born of compromised judgment.
This fractured, chaotic pursuit funnels the invisible wizard directly into a high-security choke point. Let us follow Debbie as she tracks the shadowy figure.
The figure weaves through the rotating streets, eventually arriving at a heavily guarded, ornate elevator complex.
This lift leads exclusively to the prestigious 5th floor, the rich residential sector.
The shadowy individual approaches the unyielding Warforged guard. He hands over a glowing soul gem as a toll and steps into the carriage.
Getty, cloaked entirely in invisibility, slips through the closing doors undetected, trapping herself inside with the target.
Moments later, the lagging pursuers arrive at the blockade. A tenemis drops from the rooftops and attempts to bribe the mechanical guard.
He offers magnificent artifacts, including a tome of leadership and a pearl of power. The bribe fails entirely.
The Warforged guard operates on strict, uncompromising mechanical protocols.
Artifacts designed to enhance organic leadership or regenerate spell slots hold zero value to a machine programmed to accept only soul gems.
Percy Jin, vibrating with aggressive energy, contemplates a violent breach. He calculates the angles for a stunning strike against the guard.
Ultimately, he restrains himself, recognizing the superior mechanical force and heavy weaponry of the checkpoint guards. They remain locked out.
Leaving Debbie entirely isolated on the 5th floor, the elevator doors open and she follows the figure into an opulent, sprawling home overlooking the city.
The man removes his heavy cloak, and the truth of his anatomy is revealed in the dim light.
He is partially warforged. His flesh is interwoven with dark ticking machinery, a grotesque fusion of organic and mechanical components.
This individual is later identified by the underworld as Voss. Debbie watches as Voss retrieves a unique, menacing staff.
Its head is shaped resembling an oversized tuning fork. He places it against the wall near a massive window and begins to signal.
Utilizing complex arcane gestures, he directs his magic toward a colossal humanoid figure standing on a distant, snow-capped mountain peak.
Before Debbie can process this communication, the heavy double doors of the apartment burst open.
2 towering, 8-foot-tall gray render beasts charge into the room. These are the exact savage monstrosities that nearly tore the party to shreds weeks ago.
Yet, the expected violence does not occur. Instead of attacking, Voss turns and playfully wrestles the savage monsters.
He engages with these apex predators as if they were domesticated hounds, laughing as they snap their massive jaws inches from his face.
Debbie experiences a terrifying realization of her entrapment. She stands in a room with a powerful cybernetic wizard and 2 monstrous hounds.
Opening the door to flee means creating noise, drawing their attention, and ensuring her certain death.
Casting any offensive spell or teleportation magic instantly drops her invisibility, guaranteeing she gets shredded by the beasts before she can finish the incantation.
She is caught in a lethal paradox. Action means death. Inaction means discovery when the invisibility eventually fades.
Her solution serves as a testament to raw survival instinct overriding sheer panic. She executes a daring, breathtaking escape.
Still invisible, she silently sprints toward the open balcony overlooking the sprawling mechanical abyss below.
Without hesitation, she vaults over the railing, plummeting several stories down toward the churning lower gears of the Clockwork City.
Mid-freefall, wind screaming past her ears, she activates her sending stone, transmitting a frantic telepathic warning to the strike force.
Then, at the final absolute second before impact, she casts Featherfall.
To understand the mechanics of this spell, envision changing the density of the air around the caster into thick water.
Gravity continues pulling her down, but the arcane weave acts as a localized friction, catching her momentum.
It slows her terminal velocity to a gentle, drifting descent, saving her from being crushed on the cobblestones.
She drifts gently into a bustling crowd on a lower tier, the invisibility finally washing away before sprinting frantically back to the tavern.
While her survival instinct merits praise, the strategic error cannot be overstated.
This sequence serves as a harsh, necessary lesson regarding the absolute limits of stealth without martial support.
The enemy possesses terrifying, supernaturally keen pets and maintains a direct line of communication to an unknown entity on the mountain peak.
Infiltration without an extraction plan nearly cost the Fellowship their most potent area of effect caster.
Shaken, breathless, and finally reunited at the scarred oak table of the tavern, the strike force realizes their current paradigm is flawed.
Brute force against the 5th floor will only result in slaughter. They require shadows, secrets, and a new vector of attack.
The atmosphere at the table shifts from fractured impulse to cold, calculated resolve.
Aaron sits quietly, methodically sharpening his short sword. It serves as a physical manifestation of acknowledging the impossibility of a frontal assault.
Dean Scotch, having finally finished his ale, projects a silent, heavy, telepathic mandate directly into the minds of the Fellowship.
His psychic voice demands focus. Direct assault is foolish. They require leverage to penetrate the upper echelons.
Robin Cade steps forward to provide that leverage. Utilizing her deep criminal ties, she cashes in the favor the Fellowship earned previously.
She contacts the Coastal Wave Guild. The criminal underworld operates on an economy of favors and gold, even in a highly regulated mechanical city.
For the steep price of 300 gold pieces, Robin secures safe, undetected passage through the maintenance shafts and blind spots.
This guarantees a route to the 5th floor that bypasses the Warforged checkpoints entirely.
The gold buys more than a path. It buys vital intelligence gathered from the thieves' extensive network.
The intelligence shifts their entire understanding of the battlefield. The thieves confirm that the shadowy, part Warforged man is indeed named Voss.
He operates as an exceptionally powerful, sadistic, arcane wizard who has integrated clockwork mechanisms into his own nervous system.
The thieves detail Voss's macabre trophy collection. He captures citizens from the lower levels and strips them of their enchanted wax earplugs.
He then tortures them by exposing them to the raw, maddening sound of the voice until their minds completely break.
He strings their confiscated wax earplugs onto a necklace, wearing the melted wax as a grotesque badge of his cruelty.
However, the most vital revelation concerns his specific function in Gormak's army. Voss operates merely as a relay.
He is an amplifier. The actual source of the zombifying broadcast, the true voice of Gormak, is the ancient Warforged hermit residing upon the distant mountain peak.
Voss's tuning fork staff maintains the magical, sympathetic connection, broadcasting the hermit's psychic signal down into the streets of Chronopolis.
Why would an ancient Warforged, a being constructed of logic, metal, and absolute order, ally itself with the chaotic, flesh-twisting demonic force of Gormak?
This seems entirely contradictory until we examine the nature of Far Realm corruption.
The demonic influence of Gormak corrupts the underlying purpose of the vessel it inhabits.
The ancient hermit may not view the zombification of the populace as madness or chaos.
Through a corrupted mechanical lens, stripping organic beings of their messy, unpredictable free will might be perceived as enforcing absolute order.
Reducing them to mindless, obedient laborers serves as the ultimate expression of predictable machinery applied to organic minds.
It acts as a dark, terrifying mirror to the structured rotation of Chronopolis itself. The hermit is imposing clockwork predictability onto the chaotic human spirit.
A chilling synthesis of magic and machinery.
We have tracked our fellowship from the cracking ice of the Glass Lake, past slumbering dragons, and into the treacherous grinding gears of the Clockwork City.
They navigated arcane bazaars, secured massive funding through the pragmatic sale of soul gems, and survived a fractured, nearly fatal pursuit.
That pursuit tested the very limits of their fragile bonds, but ultimately strengthened their resolve.
They discovered the enemy's true nature. They understand that Voss guards the gate, but the ancient hermit remains the architect of the broadcast.
Through the shadow economy, they forged a clandestine path forward, bypassing the impenetrable checkpoints. The board is set for a surgical strike against the 5th floor.
Which brings us to the embers of our fire, and a final haunting question for you to ponder before we part ways.
If the ancient Warforged hermit atop the mountain remains the true broadcaster of the voice, and the sadistic Voss is merely his amplifier, consider the consequences of their success.
What happens to the minds, the citizens of Chronopolis, if the Fellowship manages to shatter that tuning fork staff?
Does the sudden silence bring immediate salvation to the zombified masses?
Or does the abrupt, violent absence of the psychic signal leave a hollow void within their minds?
A vacuum that the demon Gormak will personally and immediately fill.
Keep your own wax earplugs close, traveler. The winds carry strange whispers tonight.
We shall save a place for you by the fire until the next time we gather to read the Chronicles. Stay safe in the dark.